Live. We are live on Instagram and we are live on YouTube. I am figuring this stuff out. You're telling your followers that you're starting a live video. Okay, well, I am going to jump in here and just get started. Let's see what we got here. Okay, there we go. Okay, so today's Monday Mindset, our Jedi Mind Hack. Hello, everybody. Good to see you. Today, our Jedi Mind Hack, I believe, is if you're going to not watch any of these this week, to at least come back to this one if you can't stay. I'm going to try to keep it somewhat short. But this one is what I'm calling End the Mr. Smith Effect. And I would say that I see this concept more in my coaching and more in my own life than any other sort of spiritual, like, booby trap. Okay. And what I mean by that is if you guys have seen the movie The Matrix, which is a documentary, obviously, then, every time Neo, who is the non-emotional observer, right, which is what we're all working towards, every time he would get ahead, this Mr. Smith concept would not just be constantly popping up, but it would morph in from other people, which means like a little old lady walking down the street, all of a sudden, right, could turn into a Mr. Smith. And you guys, when I tell you that this really happens on your journey, it is crazy. I have seen it with my own eyes so many times where I have seen people just flip on me, flip on other people after they were completely normal. And when is it? When does this happen? This happens when you begin to level up. So when you begin to level up and you start to bring out your light, when you start to shine, when you start to have a glow up, when you start to feel good about yourself, when you have something really good happen. Because the way this system is designed is for you to not awaken to your power. Because if you awaken to your power, they can't use your power to create the world simulation where they are disconnected from source. And so because this is such an epidemic that people don't realize, they get so butthurt as soon as they're having a great day, and then someone has to steal their joy, someone has to be a buzzkill, they get attacked on social media, their parent freaks out on them and they get blindsided. So I know you've experienced this. If you are doing any sort of inner work at all, you are experiencing this. It's like you start to get ahead in this. It's like the universe just piles all this on you, problems or challenges or whatever. And when you start to get insecure by that, or when you actually allow your vibration to drop because of that, then the whole loop gets recycled of your insecurities or how you reacted or your inner judgment or, the universe doesn't love me, God doesn't care about me, why is this happening? And this creates the confusion loop. And it also really kind of hurts the inner child because the inner child is like starting to build momentum. And it causes so many people to just give up on, becoming the Jedi. And this is part of it. It is part of it. Now, this was happening to me like crazy because I went for it a few years ago. I was building my online work. I went on tour all over the world. I was building franchises of biohacking centers, and I got caught in it majorly. Okay. And I literally had a situation where a landlord was so kind and loving to me, and the day I got my keys flipped on me and started trying to get me out of the building, and it was literally like he was possessed. And that was not the first time that I noticed such a character change in someone that was so unlike who they were. And so I started putting all this together. And I went really deep into the dark because as a spiritual teacher or a guide or whatever I call myself, honestly, it is really not just about knowing how the light works. It's not about knowing heaven or how the spirit guides talk to you or the ET beings that you can channel. It is really, truly understanding the darkness as well, because Just like any professional athlete, if you do not study your opponent, then you are not going to know their systems. You're not going to know how they play. You're not going to know where their weaknesses. You are not going to know where their strengths are. And I will tell you that I have learned more in 2 years studying the dark arts, not to go into them, but studying how it works, why it works, when it works, through who it works. Okay. And again, the root causes of it. And so I studied about a year in Catholic demonology. I studied deliverance training, which is kind of like the Christian version of that. While I was going through my own major dark night with my own literally manifested demons, like materializing in what I could only call like spiritual warfare for a while. But I really needed that for the purpose that I'm here for, because so many of my clients over the years, last 15 years, would like rise up and fall down, rise up and fall down. And it was like, when you don't understand the game, and you do not understand that until you can be non-dualistic in nature, you won't understand the dark. If you're looking at it through duality, you're going to put a label on it, you're going to put a judgment on it, you're going to put it bad or good. And as soon as you do that, you give it all kinds of power, because what makes the dark more dark is more darkness, right? It's like fearing it, being angry at it, judging it. And so this is why, like, I'm not going to get into it right now, but I have decided, because this is such a major thing before we get started with our MIG masterclass next year, I'm going to offer on Halloween this year at 6:00 p.m. I am going to do a webinar. It's going to be about probably 90 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, because it could literally be like 5 classes. I want to give you guys like the cheat sheet on all the dark, all the dark opposition play, like all their big plays. Because the thing about the dark is it seems so sophisticated and evil, and it is literally like their rules that they have to follow in order to play this particular game are basic and simple and based on our free will. Okay, our free will controls all of this. But again, it is kind of a smoke and mirrors type of Hollywood thing that makes it look very scary out there. But the thing is the darkness is a form of spirit, and so it does and can possess certain aspects of you, certain aspects of your loved ones. And that's what the Mr. Smith effect is. It's not like a radical possession where you're going to need a cross and holy water. But I have seen this. But like when it comes to our lives that maybe seem more simple, it seems kind of like, almost like the universe is cock blocking us in a way, because every time we can kind of get ahead, it's like we fall down 10 steps forward, 10 steps back. And if you are not aware of what we used to call in my practice, we call it the echo effect, which means that you would rise up above a pattern or a program, you take your power back, and then the universe would echo like between 2 and 3 times at you, like what you had just healed or what you had just overcome, to see, are you really this new state of being? Are you really this new state of being? But because in 2012, it was the end of the Mayan calendar, which means it's the end of Maya, which means it's the end of the illusion. Now we're looking and going, wait, this is still an illusion, but it's really not. Everything is out in the open now. Everything is accessible. Everything is studyable. Everything is transparent. You may not like what you're seeing, but it's blatantly obvious. Even our own shadow is blatantly obvious now. So it doesn't mean that the dark agenda has ended. It means that the lights are on. And it means for us that are working on, our highest joy and being our most amazing selves, what that means is that we are going to be confronted by the parts of ourselves and others that we have suppressed, right? Just like this whole game has done. And now everything is like, we can't hide from it. And so the best thing for us to do is always look at this concept from a non-dualistic point of view, where it's not black or white or wrong or right. It's more of like, think of the mindset like major league athlete who's going to study the opposition so that they know how to play the game, because you don't beat the game until you love the game, until you understand the game, until you understand how, when, why, what, how it's all working in you, through you, for you. And then you start to like, literally, there's been times where I'm like, wow, that was so well played. It was so perfect timing for that tragic thing to just occur right when, so and so. And it is literally like clockwork. And I will tell you that it is the number one reason why light workers, empaths, and sensitive beings do not believe that God loves them or they are worthy, because they're doing all this inner work. They're doing all this inner work, and what's coming back at them, right? Is like an echo effect. Like, I help so many people and I do so many right things, and then why is this happening to me? It's happening to me because you're leveling up. And you've heard that theory, like a new level, a new devil. Devil in the dictionary, if you look at Latin terms, which I always recommend, especially in the crappy English language that's just horrifically designed to entrap you into creating a crappy life based on the slang terms we use. But if you look up the Latin or the origin word of devil, it means doubt. So new level, new doubt. And that's what you're going to create. You're going to create doubts. As soon as you have certainty, you're going to create a doubt. As soon as you feel good about yourself, you're going to create something. And that is there to define you. That is there to put you into the fire. That is there to condition and your courage and your compassion and your curiosity and your kindness and, all the Christ sees that we have here. And so this webinar that I'm going to do, I'm going to go into details of how all the different religions work with demonology, but how what I would consider us that, we're just a religion of love. We're not religion at all, the same as that tree out there. We're looking at it more as an energy than a bad or a good thing. We're looking at it as a free will agreement that we might not have remember making. We have to look at it as the pressure that creates desire for us to even get off the couch and move. It creates momentum. It helps us define and choose. And so if you want to join me, what you've got to do, and I'll put all the links in the breakdown here, but you'll go to my app, which is in the bio. If you guys are on YouTube, I'll put it here in the drop down afterwards. And you'll just register for the webinar. It's going to be, like I said, on Halloween, 6 p.m. I know that's a little late for you guys in Europe, but I got to make time for my Australian clients as well and my friends out there. But it'll be archived, so you can tune in anytime if you're not going to watch it with us live. But I'm going to go into not only how to end the Mr. Smith effect, but how you can actually work with it when it happens, because it will. Every time it will. Because it's conditioning your belief systems. It's challenging what you carry within. It's asking you, do you still believe this, right? Are you still afraid of this? Because like I said in an earlier reel, and I'll go into this too in the webinar, when you come into this game, you are assigned, obviously, spirit guides to like walk with you and move you into the right direction of what you came for, right? Whatever that is, that purpose you came for, your unique sauce of creation to play out here. But you also are assigned what we would call the demon side of it. And you are assigned these shadow beings that are kind of designed to scare you as a child. They are in your room, they're under your bed, they are there to make you afraid of the dark. Because if you are afraid of the dark, you're never going to go into the dark, okay? But we're alchemists. Like, all of our magic happens in the dark. We glow in the dark. We came to be the light workers. We came to bring the flashlight in the dark. And so when we are so afraid of the darkness, or we push everybody away that seems dark, all we're doing is building the dark, because what you are afraid of is just fueling that. What you are resisting is fueling it. What you are judging is fueling it. What you are angry at is fueling it. So all you have to work with here is acceptance, which is a definition of love, awareness, understanding, curiosity. And when you really start to understand the game, well, then you can train like Michael Jordan, and you're not going to get all butthurt every time a Mr. Smith shows up, which it will, until you can reach a place where you are literally living in that oneness, and you're living in that kind of like that state of unconditional love. So whether it's a dark spirit or a light spirit, you're literally going to meet it with love. And that's what we're all working for. Because something that some spiritual people don't understand about this ascension that we keep hearing about, or going to 5D, is that you don't go to 5D. You do not ascend without everyone. You cannot leave no man behind, which means that if you are not praying for your sisters and brothers and working to help them as much as you are working on helping you, you're not going as far as the third dimension, because me has to become we. And there's a philosophy that I'm going to show you guys in this webinar that you might not have heard before. But one of the reasons why you're here is to transmutate darkness back into light. So even the spirits, the Mr. Smiths that are coming at you, are they coming at you, or do they see that you are a child of God? And are they coming at you to be helped? Even though they might be coming with an attack, right? I'm a mother of 4 kids. I know that sometimes my kids would experience a tantrum or bad behavior, which is a call for love, right? The squeaky wheel gets the attention. And so if we were looking at the dark and the light a little bit differently, then you might feel more empowered, you might feel more in purpose, you might feel more confident, and you will feel so much less afraid once you actually understand the fabric of the spirit world. So that's what we're going to dive deep into in this webinar. It is the spirit world. Obviously, we're going to be focused on darkness because, let's be honest, every teacher on YouTube is talking about the light. Every spiritual coach, the light, the light, the light, you know, this planet that's helping us, this planet, this, and yes, that's amazing. But there is also something called false light. And false light is the darkness that mimics light. Because another thing that a lot of people don't know about the spirit world is the dark spirits that are here playing this game out with us, they have all the same power as the light, but their agenda is based in separation, lack, right? So when you're working with a teacher or somebody that pretends to be very light and they need something from you, right? Or I'm the only one that will teach you this, false light. Because real light doesn't want anything back, doesn't care, doesn't need anything in exchange, right? And I'm not talking about somebody that you're paying your hour for coaching or something, but I'm talking about someone who is like, okay, but you can only work with me. It's almost like this needy, obsessive, compulsive energy that comes off like guru. That's not light. Light is about exchange. It is about sharing. It is about illuminating. It isn't about covering anything up. It's not like, oh, I'm the only way you're going to get there, or this religion is the only way you're going to get there. This quantum toolbox is huge, right? Every way that you go will eventually get you there, as long as you're playing the non-duality game. And I don't know too many religions that are playing in non-duality yet, because they may say that they are a child of God and they're the light of the world, but when you hate on another brother and sister, regardless of their behavior or what they have done to you, it's still duality. And as long as you remain in duality, then you will remain in duality of yourself, and therefore you won't be able to see all of yourself, and then you will not understand why your behavior is sabotaging, and you will not truly be able to turn within with true compassion and look at your own guilt or your own shame or your own anger or your own fear with neutral eyes, because that is the only way to transcend it, is from that neutrality place of understanding. So again, we're going to dive deep. We're going to be going through the different types of dark spirits, how they work in your house, in your body, in your partner, in your family, in your kids, in your food. Okay? Because just like the light, the dark is everywhere because it's a shadow space. And it is so easy when you look at things from the way I'm going to teach you guys at the end of the webinar. Never again will you be able to be afraid of anything here. I'm not saying it won't be like annoying like a mosquito in your house, but it isn't going to like stop you dead in your tracks and make you believe that God doesn't love you because you didn't manifest the right person. You know, that you just got Mr. Smith by someone you were dating, or you just got Mr. Smith by someone jacking into your bank account or something. I mean, I cannot tell you how many times this has happened to me as I'm leveling up. And we just have to look at it like, this is what really creates the phoenix, is when you kind of burn those old patterns to the ground and you face your own demons, which are just shadow aspects. And you'll be surprised if you go through the whole webinar with me, how much your life will change. Well, at least how much your journey, how you see your journey, how you navigate your journey, and how the course you take on your own personal self will have a quantum leap. Because everybody is studying the light, but for me, it was like, I need to know this ego. I need to know these voices in my head. I need to know these voices in my kids' heads. I need to know what's going on with my partner. And again, this is kind of what has like taken me back into early like origin roots of shamanism, where they literally did not believe in duality whatsoever, but they did understand that there was a balance, because wherever there is form, right, where we can take a form, then we're able to manifest energy into form. We're going to play in the game of masculine, feminine, yin and yang, but it doesn't mean that it's dark and light or good and evil. It is the playground. It is the laboratory for us to be able to create, because we require desire in order to manifest, right? If all of your needs were met simultaneously and there was no real time and space, there would be no desire, right? So I've taken my classes through something called Imagineering training, and I can see their egos getting so triggered during this Imagineering training, because we go to this space where there's nothing left to do except be, which means they have no demons to fight. They have no cross to bear. They have nothing to succeed to, right? Like the already arrival place. And they're like, well, what am I supposed to do? Like, who am I supposed to teach? Like, who can I help? And I'm like, nobody needs help here. We're all the same. And it's funny how much of that triggers the ego when you have been playing from, which is a dark shadow, guys, the constant seeker and the constant searcher and the constant desire to be worthy and to be of value is a shadow. Okay. And you will see, like, once you get to know that part, then you can work with it to transmutate it. Because one thing about the matrix, it is terrified of the divine feminine. Terrified of the divine feminine. Why? Well, we're nurturers by nature. Okay, we are unified by nature. Like, we want everybody to get along, right? Mothers are kind of like glue of the home. We are also very comfortable in the shadow, because this is where we create from the void. And right, and one last thing is this idea that we are we can transmutate darkness into light, which means that we could see bad behavior and see, oh, that's just a child that needs to be loved. And so there's this terrified feeling within the matrix that the divine feminine is rising, because not only that is, we truly understand how to value life, because we understand what it takes to create it. And that is something that the masculine may not understand in creating a child, of what it actually takes to create something. So there is going to be a higher value on life when it comes to the feminine energy. And that is going to be a really interesting part of this new chapter of the game of we're moving into for 2025. You guys will see that in this 12 step of initiations that we're going through. We're going through the shadow. We're going through the shadow time to get to the golden age. So the best thing you could do is know the shadow. Know the game, fall in love with the game, hack the game, beat the game, love wins, right? So let's all do that. And hopefully that next time something happens, you can say, oh, that's the Mr. Smith effect. Because even when you recognize that it's a shadow, instead of God not loving you, or how did I manifest this with all my manifestation training, you won't beat yourself up. You'll recognize it as a Mr. Smith effect, and then you'll begin to get curious about it, which is a superpower. And then you can unpack that, and you can have more grace for yourself in your own journey. So that is our Jedi mind hack for the day. And I will put the links for the webinar in this video after I'm done here. Also, I'll put it on YouTube. But if you guys go to my bio and get into my school app, it's a school app. I have a whole app with all my classes on there. This is going to be an a la carte webinar. And it is, I said, it's going to probably be like a little bit more than an hour and a half because we've got so much to cover. It will be on Halloween at 6 p.m., but it's going to be recorded and archived. So if you register for it, you will own it. So you don't have to watch it live with us. But if you are live, then you can participate. You can ask questions because I'm going to take you as deep as I can in the time that we have. We're getting ready for our Jedi Masterclass for next year, which is going to be based in our superpowers and playing with our psychic gifts. And so by then, we're already going to know what the dark is, and we're going to utilize that shadow, right, to make all this fun again. Fun, like a kid. Like my son used to say, Mom, let's play good guys and bad guys. And I want to be the bad guy because it's more fun. Right? He used to say that to me, and I was like, interesting. Okay, well, I get it now. So I will see you guys all if you join me for that webinar. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow for another Jedi Mind Hack. Bye, guys.